Ladies and gentlemen, weebs of all ages, the moment you've all been waiting for. Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today we are going to be taking a fully spoilery look at Kaiju number 8, episode 10. The one with the scene. Now, there will be spoilers, so in order to give you a chance to avoid those, I'm going to tell you to go check out the links below the video to get yourself a copy of my book, Flying Sparks, Dragons, Aliens, and Things That Go Boom in the Night. I will say there was one thing I didn't like about this episode. They rearranged the choreography of the battle. We do get more interactions from more of the Defense Force officers, and I enjoyed that, but it meant there was a critical joke that relied on Reno not being in eyesight of Kafka when Kafka has this big emotional breakdown after they bring down the Kaiju. And in that scene, Reno tells Kafka that he's ugly crying, and Reno can't see Kafka, which Kafka points out while still ugly crying, and Reno's like, yeah, I can imagine it. And this just kind of shows that how attentive Reno is to Kafka and how well they know each other. I don't like that was sacrificed, and I think it could have been done, the scene could have been done without it, but who am I to argue with such an amazing episode? This was the one scene from the manga where my very first thought was, I cannot wait to see this animated. And the animation did not disappoint. Choreography, the acting, the sense of raw looming menace that Kaiju number 10 just uses to permeate the battlefield. And there's this real sense of... how do I put this? Mina is the linchpin around which the 3rd Division rotates. Mina's the main reason they're so powerful. But this wasn't about Mina. Mina was at best a secondary character in this episode, sharing the spotlight she had with Bako, her tiger. Although personally I believe that Bako is a liger, not a tiger, because tigers do not have cooperative hunting instincts while lions do, whereas tigers are much larger than lions, and a liger, a hybrid of the two, is actually larger than either of them, and would explain why Bako is as tall as Mina and why he has a tiger's mass and speed, but a lion's willingness to cooperate in a hunt with a female leader. But that's beside the point. Oh no, more about that. So in the scene where Mina's firing off her giant cannon of a gun, you actually get to see really well illustrated what Bako's purpose on the battlefield is. You see that without the time necessary to set up her shot, to brace herself properly, when Mina has to actually move around the battlefield, when the Defense Force hasn't wrangled the giant Kaiju into one specific point, she can easily be knocked over by the blowback, by the kickback from her weapon. And that knocks her into Bako, who braces her and allows her to fire off these massive weapons with all this kickback. We get those lovely flashback scenes where it develops Hoshina's backstory. But the reason everybody was so excited for this episode is the big reveal at the end, and Matsumoto just plays this so perfectly, and the anime does too. We have the climactic end of the battle scene where Mina takes out Kaiju number 10 with the help of her team. Oh, that's where I was going with the Bako thing. The rest of the 3rd Division is just as critical to taking out Kaiju number 10. Mina could never have done it on her own. And the emphasis of the episode, what the anime is showing us, is that it is the cooperative community effort of the 3rd Division which brings down this giant class Kaiju. No one of them is enough. They have to work together. They have to have that training. They have to have that trust in each other in order to take out that kaiju. There's got to be someone there to pick up the fallen and rescue the injured. And ultimately, even that is not enough because they take out Kaiju number 10, and Kaiju number 10 had a dead man switch, a trick up his sleeve that can take everyone out even after he's good and dead. And through this battle, we see Kafka deciding how much of his Kaiju power to use. We see him make the decision that he's going to break out his full Kaiju power to save Vice Captain Hoshina's life, only to be stopped when Mina shows up. And we think the episode is calming down. They're shifting into cleanup mode. Everybody's just standing around. They're assigning cleanup duties. They're saying who has to rest and who's going to keep working. Lots of minor changes from the manga, but it's just about expanding the field of view and showing us more. And then Baco roars at the sky. We look up and we see the giant bomb as all the Yoju smash themselves together and prepare to take out the base in a fire victory. Which is, of course, when our beautiful main character goes rushing in, puts his life on the line, and saves all of his friends. There was one thing that I had to go back and check the manga to see if it was a change or an addition. As you saw in the anime, when he hits the ground, he's standing there facing away from the two Defense Force officers who are on the ground shielding themselves behind him. Now, Kafka, because he fell straight down, and as Kaiju number 8, and these two Defense Force officers who are behind him were directly in the path of the bomb, and because they're between the bomb and where the energy is reflecting directly back up from the ground, that is where the strength of the blast is going to be the strongest. And you see in the anime Kaiju number 8's body just crackling with energy, and you see behind him on the ground projected the same shield shadow that we saw when Kaiju number 8 destroyed the Kaiju that was attacking Kikoru back in the application arc. When Kikoru turned on her shield, it left that same shadow as the force dispersed around her shield. So in the anime, it becomes clear that Kaiju number 8 is protecting those two officers behind him by generating a shield large enough to deflect the force of the blast. I didn't remember that from the manga, but when I went back and looked, yeah, that absolutely could be what was being implied in the image, but it's much more clear in the anime. This episode was so good that I actually had to stop watching it and get up and burn off some adrenaline between scenes. I am completely satisfied with this episode. I was worried that Matsumoto was so good at creating these images in our mind that the animation could never live up to the reality. But watching Kafka jump up and punch into that Kaiju bomb, and watching it go flying up into the atmosphere where its explosion wouldn't be as devastating. Watching the shock and horror and betrayal playing out on Vice Captain Hoshina's face. And watching Kikoru and Reno just panic. Oh, this was such a beautiful episode. And ultimately, it was about friendship all along. It's about the coordination of the third division has because they trust each other. It's about how much Reno loves Kafka. It's about how loyal Kikoru is keeping the secret. About how much taking Kafka in just devastated Mina. And it's about how much even Vice Captain Hoshina had gotten attached to Kafka in just this short time. And that brings me, I just realized, to the one other thing that I really missed from this episode. In the manga, at the conclusion of this story arc, when we see Mina standing there with the gun, the scene pans, and behind Mina in the background, we see Vice Captain Hoshina just standing there, shattered, head down, not even looking at Kafka, kind of gripping his arm and just really looking really beaten down and defeated. And I missed seeing that last glimpse of Vice Captain Hoshina in this episode, but it was a beautiful episode. But tell me what you think. Did you miss any of the things that I missed, or do you think they were all improvements? Tell me what you think in a comment below the video. Hit that like and subscribe button, and peace out, my wonderful viewers.
Drake McCarty's leg was shattered, deep in the wilderness. As the flash flood closed over him, something alien pulled him from the waters. A military base that shouldn't exist. An ancient warrior with secrets of his own. Drake returns to his family with a whole leg and the burden of a secret he doesn't understand. In the forest around them, someone is watching, and something followed him home. Flying Sparks. 90,000 words of science fantasy adventure. The first novel in the Dying Embers universe is now available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo by Rakuten, Google Play Books, and from the author as a signed copy. Get your copy now and step into a world where dragons walk the forest, aliens lurk on the mountain, and things go boomp in the night.
Escape into another world with the writings of author Betty Adams. Two worlds, one of utter absurdity, one of dramatic tension, both alike in aliens absolutely astounded by human behavior. Humans are weird, short, absurd science fiction stories. Flying sparks, dragons, aliens, and things that go boomp in the night.
Books available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo by Rakuten, Google Play Books, and at authorBettyAdams.com for a signed copy.